Ramble.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of You Can Sit With Us. You've got Maggie and Ariel and Rachel and Becky. Today, we're actually going to be talking about female friendships. Where'd you get them? How'd you lose them? Do you make new friends? All the drama that ensues, all the wonderful things about female friendships. But first, we got to do a check-in. How was everyone's weekend?
It was good.
So bad?
Zach and I are setting up a little tiny corner of his office as a little home gym. So we're making room for that. So we were moving stuff, getting rid of stuff. My little sister came and took some furniture. So we were just doing that all weekend.
Oh, we're still doing house projects. My parents were living with us for the last few weeks, and they left on Sunday, which is bittersweet. It was fun having them here. But the house is a lot quieter without an extra dog and an extra two people.
Aww.
Yeah. Working on house stuff. We're moving Wes into his new toddler room in the next couple days, which is very exciting. We'll have to do a tour. It's super cute. I spent a lot of time like painting it and wallpapering, and I'm really, really excited for him to sleep in there. He loves his new bed. He has like a big boy twin size bed. And he's just precious. Aww. He wants to read on it at like all hours of the day.
Oh,
I know.
Muffin. Is he sleeping in his toddler bed now?
Not yet. We haven't moved him yet. Okay. He's still in his crib. Soon though. Soon. But this time he can't fall out. It has rails all the way around.
Bumper cars or bumper rails.
Yeah, it's got bumper
You
rails.
made adjustments.
Oh, you know what is an exciting thing that happened? And by exciting, I mean not exciting at all. For anyone who owns their own washer and dryer, you might not know this, but there is a national coin shortage. And Keith and I have gotten to the point where our local bank has no quarters. So quarters is how we do laundry. So we have $10 left. Today I'm going to do towels. But on Sunday, we went to the bank and the grocery store. And the grocery store had no quarters. And they said even when they get quarters, this is what the bank did too, is they'll only give you one roll per person.
That's terrible.
I know, it's crazy.
Take it to the old office.
You know, the old office is very gross to me. It's just, there are too many creepy crawlies running around. And I think it's either the washer or the dryer doesn't work anymore. Something's messed up, Keith said.
You know what this means? It's just time to buy a new house. No quarters, buy a new house.
Honestly, we are trying so hard.
You should email your landlord. In the meantime, we emailed our landlord and they actually switched the payment system to tap. But as soon as they switched the machine, the dryer doesn't work. The vents have been cleaned. Zach's laundry is all up here on the curtain rack in our bedroom, in our bathroom. Bowie's been having a heyday with all the socks drying out. We have like a collection of socks because of him.
I would love to be able to email, but we don't. Our landlord doesn't use computers. He is a 7-year-old Cuban man. And if you talk to him, you're there for about 3 hours.
Sounds like explaining like a tap system to him would be more difficult than it's worth.
It would, it would cause more chaos than really anything. Our washer dryer for the building, there's 2 washers, 2 dryers, is right underneath where our bed is. So we can hear it every once in a while, but not in like a loud way. It's actually kind of calming. But one time the dryer broke. So it was like bang, 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 bang. And Keith and I tried to sleep with it for we probably got 3 days with it broken. And then I went to talk to Frank and it was no joke. From going to him to going with him downstairs to show him the dryer was an hour.
Oh,
wow.
We spent an hour together.
Chatty.
He's a chatty man. But he's really nice.
Becky, you are one of the nicest, most talkative people that I know. So
look, I try and keep the conversation low. Yes, no, I don't elaborate. I try and get to the goods with him.
I feel like I could totally see you being like, so how's your daughter? Oh, I like your shirt. My dad has one of those.
No, Frank and I are a little like 50-50. We're either like really good or really bad. Like there was one time our windows in front of us have like low open windows, and he put plants in front of them that he comes and he waters. Well, he wasn't, like, for months, he wasn't paying attention, and he was literally shooting the hose into our apartment. There was one time where I was home and he did it, and I like went outside and I was like, Frank, there's water all over my floor. You don't even care about us.
Oh no.
He comes at us too, no floaties in the pool. He made me deflate a floaty in front of him when we first moved in. It was so
no
sad.
Floaties.
That pool has so many rules.
So many.
That pool is not for fun.
And it's in the center of the complex. So anytime we go over to Keith and Becky's house, we all walk by the pool and are just like, we are not allowed.
Put our hands up at the gate.
I know.
We are not allowed.
Rach, what'd you get up to?
I took the girls to the beach this weekend, which was cute. It's very sweet. It takes them a long time to get their bravery up for the waves. But then once they do, they're like running towards them and you have to rescue them a bunch because they'll just get knocked down with any wave. They're so short. They're so shrimpy.
Well, guys, this weekend, another thing that I did was go through 500 of our emails. That was the tip of the iceberg. There were so many more than that. Yeah. And one of a prevailing question that people had for us was about making friends, and particularly like making friends in your 20s and 30s. I did have an email, and now, it just didn't get pulled up on my phone, but I'm pretty sure it was from someone named Alicia. So Alicia wanted to know, how do you make friends in your 20s? You guys got any tips and tricks for making friends?
I am terrible at making friends.
What's the last? Everyone go around and let's talk about the last friend that we made.
It probably was in my 20s, which was over 5 years ago.
I know it's hard. I feel like when we go to parties too, or like get-togethers with people, you almost find comfort in staying around the people you know, and it's really jarring when I think I've been to a couple ones with Zach. You guys weren't there, but I don't know what big social settings where you feel like you have to kind of put yourself out there can be really scary, especially because in elementary and high school, you're just surrounded by these people day in and day out, and you just have like an extended period of time to kind of get to know each other. Whereas when you go into a social setting, it's kind of like either you become friends or you don't. Like you'll probably never see this person again, or you might, depending on what kind of social setting it is. But I did make a friend in quarantine, and it did take me many weeks of like gathering up my courage to like talk to this person. So we go on walks, or I go on walks every day with Bowie out like when I get home from work. And Zach happened to come with me on this one walk, and there was this girl that always walks her lab, and she has like the same treat pouch I do. Her lab is super cute. I wanted to make a new little like walking friend that Bowie could walk with because he's not seeing other dogs. We don't have another dog. And I saw her, and it was like months would pass. And I'm like, Zach, I'm going to talk to that girl where she's going to be my dog walking friend. And Zach was like, okay, talk to her. And then we passed her. He's like, why didn't you talk to her? And I was like, I don't know. I just got scared. I don't know. I don't know what happens if she rejects me or thinks I'm crazy. So like a month later passed, and she's like listening to, I think she listened to podcasts, but she's always with her headphones on. And I was like, hey. And she didn't hear me. And I was like, oh. And Zach saw, and he was just like, oh my God, you are ridiculous. So we passed because she was coming on the other side of the street. So we switched directions. And Zach's like, here, I'm going to get her attention for you. And she's like, hey. And I striked up a conversation with her, and I was like, if you ever want to go like walk our dogs together, here's my number. And now, like, at least once a week we get together.
That's so cute.
That's so sweet.
You were so
brave.
We're like socially distanced. We wear our face masks. Our dogs like just walk next to each other. They get along great. It's really cute. Just don't be scared. And I guess in that situation, it was just like a one-on-one. Either she could have just blown me off and not like replied to my text, or I know where she lives, so it's, I would see her. So I think I kind of forced her into becoming my friend.
Well, that's good. It's a good thing it turned out well.
Yeah.
And it seems like you vetted her for a good, like month beforehand.
I know. I would just always see her. And it was, her lab is like 1 year old. So I remember seeing it when it was very, very small. And now it's like full grown. But I was like, oh my God, I want to be friends with her. Her dog is so cute. But yeah, it did work out. So just put yourself out there, fam.
So sweet. Everyone wants to be friends with a puppy. I feel like
I know.
Dogs and babies are a great gateway to new friends.
When I first got Bowie and we were taking him to dog parks more often, that's like a really easy way to make friends, like in your neighborhood. Like everyone wants to like pet your dog, talk about dogs. Mm-hmm. Like that's a really good segue. I think I talked about this on a previous podcast. If I had been single when I got Bowie, I would have had many boyfriends. The amount of single men that would come up to me and ask to pet Bowie, I was like, whoa, sir, please do not talk to me. I would come home and tell Zach about like, this really cute guy came up to me and he's like, oh yeah? Well, this cute girl came up to me when I was with Bowie as well. Thank you.
Oh, Bowie, man and lady catcher.
For sure. Ivana uses Bowie's photo on her Tinder profile. And she says he's a gateway to many conversations.
I've heard that babies are the same way. And actually, I clearly was lying before because I have made some mom friends within the last couple of years. When I was pregnant with Wes, we have a neighbor who was also pregnant, and she was also renovating her house. And the two of us had it was almost like we had a friend matchmaker because we had a doula in common. We both had like a prenatal doula. And our doula basically was like, you guys have way too much in common not to be friends. You're both renovating your house. You're both in interior design. You are both, due around April. And you live a block away from each other. And so it was meant to be. It was meant to be. Yeah. And so now our kids are best friends. And yeah, they basically grew up with each other. We shared a nanny for a while. I mean, it was like a match made in heaven. But I feel like that's, kids and dogs. That's just one way to, kids make friends so easily. They just walk up to other kids and they're like, hey, I have a snack. Do you like snacks? It's like, I wish we could do that as adults.
Oh my gosh.
I would share my snack with everybody.
Maybe that's what we should have been doing all along, guys. When we go to parties, just bring fruit snacks and just pass them around to people.
Like a box
You'll
of
be
raisins
everyone's best friend.
Or like a little pouch of goldfish or something.
Becky, as someone with no dogs and no kids as a buffer, and yet probably the best at making friends.
I know, Becky, you're so
What's
good at
your strategy?
I honestly, like when we were talking about this email and Ariel was like, Becky, you're so good at making friends. I was like, am I? And I was trying to think back at how I made any friends, and it's pretty much exclusively school and work, and then friends of friends. So I was really lucky to be, I was in the arts since I was little. So being in theater classes, you're just with people who are super expressive and very emotional. So you form like bonds really easily. And then since that's what I went to college for too, I made like adult friends who were also like very expressive and empathetic and talked a ton. And then, once I was out in the world, since I was serving, nothing bonds people like a terrible customer.
I remember when you were working at that place on Beverly, and we were like going out to a bar or something, and like you had like 3 friends show up, and I was like, you have 3 friends? Like what is this?
Well, only like 5 of us worked in the store, so group gatherings were a little easier.
Like, Becky, you have so many friends.
It's just different I think because I've had so many jobs, I've gotten to like keep friends from like every job.
That's fair.
I think except for Springles, maybe. That's probably the only one I don't. Mostly because they were like 18. We hung out like once or twice, and I was like, I don't know. I think I might be a little old.
Are you guys really good at like keeping in touch with friends? Like if you haven't seen a friend for a while, you'll text them and be like, hey, we should get a drink, or we should go for a hike or something.
No.
No,
You're not
that person.
Any of my friends from home that are listening to this are screaming at their, computers. Absolutely not. Becky is a demon. I am so bad at if you don't call me on the phone, chances are it's a 50-50 if I'm going to respond to a text. I look at it and then I'll put it down and I'll just totally forget. Mm-hmm. And then it'll pop in my head a week later and I'll be like, but all my friends that call me, we get on those. I'm like, okay, hello.
So you do answer the phone when people call?
I do. If I have their number, I'll answer it. Because I also am super anxious and I'm like, they're dying. Hello.
So when I came into the group, you guys had already been friends. So I wanted to be a part of that. But luckily, I was very much welcomed into the group chat very early on. And I was so shocked. I remember when Matt had titled it and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm a part of it. This is so cool. But it felt very natural. I never felt like, I don't know, in elementary school, I was always fighting to impress people or get people to like me. But with you guys, I didn't feel that way at all. And that's probably why you guys are still my friends now. But I felt like it was very natural. If it was anything traumatic, I think it would have stuck out. But no, you guys are all great.
Do you think that's the difference between making friends when you're younger and making friends when you're older? It's you don't really judge your friends as much anymore. You're just lucky to have them.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that a lot of my adult friendships now, when I was younger, it was more so what we had in common. But now I think a lot of the friends that I keep now, we're all very different and we just all support each other and it doesn't matter. It's not a competition and we're genuinely excited for things that are happening in each other's lives and supporting them. And
did you guys feel like you had strong friendships in middle school and high school or less so? Because I feel like those are the hardest, the competitive stuff you just mentioned, Maggie. All of that stuff is such a time of adolescence, I feel like.
I had a really close group of friends in middle school and we all met in elementary school. We all lived very close together because we were all zoned for the same school. And it was probably a group of 5 or 6 of us that, and plus or minus, a couple people would come and go, but there was a good 5 or 6 of us that always stuck together. And I still keep in touch with a couple of them, Instagram and other social media apps make it a little bit easier to keep in touch with your old friends. There's just something about growing up together that just bonds you, just having known each other for so long. I talked to her on the phone and it's no time has passed, truly, no matter what happens, sweet. I've had a kid, we both got married, but it's nothing has changed.
I feel that's how the best unreal. Friendships are.
Yeah. And then of course I moved in high school. And I made some good friends. That was tough because, you don't know anybody. And you're only really with them for a few years. And we had certain things in common, like the fact that we all lived abroad and, that our parents worked in various expatriate things, and we were all a part of this expatriate community. But I kept in touch with a few of them for several years after high school. But most of us have just sort of lost touch. I don't know if you could call it a falling out, because it's not like I don't like them. It's more just that as you get older, you almost prioritize certain friendships over others. Do you guys think that's true?
Definitely. For sure.
That sounds more like a fizzle than a fall. A fall is a bit more aggressive.
I was very fortunate. Again, I think theater was a very, it was obviously a very large part of my life, but it also brought me to some really wonderful people. And I was very fortunate at my wedding. I had one of my best friends since 5th grade was there. My maid of honor was my high school best friend. She also designed everything for us. She's a graphic designer, and she also did the labels for Keith's hot sauce. She's very talented. Yeah. And then one of my other bridesmaids' best friend from high school. 2 of my other best friends were like ushering. Yeah, I would say I have more from high school that like my core high school group has stuck together pretty well. Because I think we're all really good at exactly what Ariel was talking about. We're like, we don't necessarily talk every single day, but when we do talk, it's like no time has passed. We're just like gabbing like crazy. Yeah, but I would say, yeah, a good core group of high school friends I still have. And we still go on like, one of them got married and we went to Mexico and all went to like a resort and got to hang out and just have like a very fun 3 days.
I know. The majority of the friends that I keep in contact with now are high school as well. Something about, I mean, I guess going to an all-girls school, you all have that like joint trauma and like seeing each other grow from like awkward teens into like our adult selves. I don't know. But a lot of them live out of state, so it's kind of hard to coordinate us all getting together. But the same, the common thread, if it feels like months will pass or one of them has just gotten married and yada, yada, but we'll get on the phone and it's like nothing. I haven't missed anything at all. And it doesn't feel forced whatsoever. And there's no, even though we are both in agreement that a lot of time has gone by and like we should like keep in contact more, like we still find each other months down the road, and it's just like it's just natural. It's not like a one-sided thing, because I have had a couple friendships in the past where one was frustrated that I wasn't reaching out enough, and that was during nursing school where like all my time and energy was focused into this one thing, and they were just, I think that they were just doing something else, or one of them was taking a year off and they were just very frustrated with me and why I couldn't give them more time and energy that I was giving at the time. So that was one that kind of had a falling out. I think a lot of people struggle when a really close friend of theirs gets into a relationship and balancing time with their partner, time with their friend, time with their family, time for their health and other things going on in their lives gets to be really tricky. And I think it's hard to prioritize all and like balance all those things as we grow older. And I think especially with you two having kids, like how do you how do you balance your time between all those things?
You don't.
You don't.
I've never been a better friend than when I was single and had no children, just had a dog. You know, I was like, sure, I'll come out. Sure, let's go on a hike. Sure, let's make bagels. Sure, let's go on a trip. And then you fall in love, you get married, you're spending all your time with that person. And then you have kids and you're spending all your time with those people. It's hard.
Keith and I were pretty lucky because we went to college together, but at different times that our friend groups actually overlapped. So that like balancing relationship, I would say the not weirdest part, but the most surprising part to people was that we were dating. So it was like seeing 2 people that you had not seen together all of a sudden be together. But like our friend Ricky that married us, he officiated our wedding, was actually one of Keith's best friends when he was in college, and he was, I think he's like a year or 2 younger. And then when I got to college, I became really good friends with Ricky, totally separate from Keith. So we just thought he was like such a good person to marry us because he had been friends with us both separately, but then knew us as a couple.
So in the Venn diagram of Keith and Becky, Ricky in the middle.
Ricky's in the middle, yeah.
But it was kind of nice. That's nice. Really, really nice having like friends that overlap, because, you know, when you get into a relationship, then you know, that sometimes becomes a really tough waters to navigate, because maybe you don't like his friends, or you don't like, you guys just don't get along quite as well, or your friends group don't mesh. I mean, Ned and I met really when we were pretty young, and so we really just had our college friends. And when you're getting out of college and you're in that, we were in a very, very transitional place where we had just gotten out of college. We were still figuring out our jobs. We were still figuring out, you know, how to live as adults, like on your own. And so we got along with each other's friends pretty well. And actually, I would say that Ned has a very, very close group of college friends that he has stayed in touch with for a long time. And they've become some of our like very, very good friends, their wives, girlfriends.
Dr. Travis.
Dr. Travis. Actually, Travis
become all of our
Dr.
friends.
Travis.
Travis is
in college.
friend.
Isn't Travis?
Travis is from Jacksonville. He's like a high school friend of Ned's. Maggie, how do you? I mean, you and Zach, like you probably had completely separate friend groups when you guys met.
Yeah, for sure. He has his group of college friends. I have my group of college friends, but you guys, like Try Guys and everyone is our common friend group. So you guys are our Venn diagram. Well, actually, no. Most of you have known Zach.
Us.
But I feel like you guys watched us like become one.
Did you guys ever have a friend breakup? I had a friend in college, like one of my first friends freshman year. We were super, super close, me, her, and then my other best friend. And she like was just really, really mean to one of our other friends. Actually, it was Ricky. Little Venn diagram of Ricky. She was super, like, she was just really mean and treated him really poorly. And there was a day we were in class, and I think I did it via text because I was not ballsy. And I was like, yo, I don't think we should be friends anymore.
You said that?
Whoa, point blank. It's like an actual breakup.
Well, because I don't like living in that weird limbo where there's any sort of like tension or anyone's like trying too hard to make something work. So I think just being honest and being like, which is also how all of my breakups in real life have gone, of just being like, I don't think we should do this anymore. Because then I feel like you're just like harboring things and things are going to fester and then you're going to get in a big fight and things are going to spill out. So
I realized I do have a big friend breakup.
Oh, what?
What is it?
I was very good friends for a year with my husband's ex-girlfriend. And they broke up, and then we started secretly dating not that long after. And then once we realized we didn't really want it to be secret anymore, I like told her, and we had a big fight in Echo Park Lake. Glenn was there. We cried. She screamed at me, and then we never spoke again.
Whoa.
Which is fair.
Drama.
Fair on her part.
Yeah.
She was just really, she was like, you're living my life. And I was like, but it wasn't mutual. It's not your life. This is my life. But she was just very upset. So, and she had a right to be. We don't need to be friends.
Anyone still friends with exes' friends? Like, Ariel, do you know any of Ned's exes? Or Maggie, you know any of Zach's? I don't think Zach has exes.
I don't know any of Ned's exes. I guess I've met a couple from like college, you know, just at like reunions and stuff. Ned's like, but he was never like, I guess he never really, Ned was like he was a hoe in college. He never dated a girl for very long. He's gonna kill me for saying this. You know, it was sort of it was from this is just from what like I have heard from him. It was mostly just like nothing serious, and so you know we'll be at some get together and Ned'll be like, oh yeah, that's the girl I told you about, and I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, but no, I'm not really. I think that you know the fact that we were in such a big transition period, and the fact that we don't live in the same city as the place that we went to college or the place that we grew up. It makes it makes the friends that we have now. It makes them friends that we want. You know, friends that we like being with. I feel like there are some friendships, and you guys correct me if tell me if this has happened to you too. There are some friendships where like it's almost a friendship of convenience, where you have known each other for so long, but maybe you don't particularly like being with the person, or like it's maybe they don't really make you feel like the person that you want to be.
Oh,
have you guys ever had a friendship like that?
Yeah, I had one from high school, and it just seemed like anytime that it was always me. It was always me going to her. It was always me going to her college. And then when she moved back home, it was me going down. Even in high school, I think it was that way too. but it was just always me to her, me to her, me to her. And then I just finally got to the point where I'm like, this isn't really serving me. If anything, this other person is losing my friendship because I feel like I'm putting so much emotional and like physical energy into this. And if this person doesn't make me feel good, then I think that it's best for my mental health to just kind of step away. That's the one that fizzled. I don't think I've ever, and I think I should have messaged someone and been like, I don't think we should be friends no longer. Thank you. But I think I just stopped. I think I just kind of stopped. I think I just stopped putting the effort into it. And then now I'm so much happier because I thought I was spending a lot of mental energy into like, why isn't this person reciprocating? Why don't they like me? But you get to a point where it's just, after so long, you just don't really, you shouldn't let it affect you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think someone sat me down. I think it was one of my other close friends from high school and was like, think about the last 2 years. Like, how has this friendship been serving you in the last 2 years? And we've been friends for over 10. Yeah. And I was like, well, let's take a snapshot of the last 2 years. Is it worth my time? No.
It's hard to recognize that, right?
It is.
Yeah. Maybe it takes someone pointing it out.
Yeah, for sure. And it takes effort on both your parts. It's kind of like having a relationship as well. Like, you guys kind of have to both put in work. It's not something that's always going to be easy, especially if the friendship is meant to withstand the test of time.
I think it's that way when you're making good new friends too. Like, I remember when I met each of you at various points in time, afterwards, I was like looking for reasons to like DM you on Instagram or text you. I, in fact, think I bought a face moisturizer that Becky had talked about just so I could be like, look, I'm using this too. I just needed common ground. Just looking to hang out.
Rachel, you're the best.
So funny.
So cute.
I love it.
I still have it. It's great.
Wait, Rachel, we met 2 years ago now? It's not the same jar of face cream, right?
No, it's a new one. It's a new one. I'm still using it.
She likes it so much that she bought another one.
Okay, just double checking that it's not a 2-year-old face cream. I'll load up your Sephora cart.
I don't actually know how long you're supposed to keep face cream.
Well, if you look on the bottom of your products, skincare in particular, sometimes makeup will have it, but there's a little jar on the bottom, and it usually says 6 months or 12 months. Some say 3 months, but that's technically how long it's like potent.
From opening.
Interesting. I think it has to do with when it's exposed to air. So the first time because it starts to degrade after it's been exposed to air. Yeah. I know someone who has a spreadsheet. That's does a spreadsheet. Yeah.
I would need like a calendar notification.
And by someone, Becky, is it you?
It's me.
I know someone.
It's me.
I'm asking for a friend.
Actually, one of my friends. You don't know her. No, but they have really sensitive skin, so they like have a little spreadsheet that says when they open their product, and then if they had like a bad reaction, they can look and see if an ingredient like upset them.
I can't remember a time when I just went after a friendship. You know, usually it's kind of a mutual thing that sort of comes together in a way, or that somebody will tell me, like we'll have a mutual friend who then is like, you really should get together with this person. Like one of my very, very close friends in LA, we met through like I was married to Ned at the time, and she went to college with his her now husband went to college with Ned, and we when Ned and I came out to LA one year for just a trip, and we met them, and we met at a diner, and the two of us just were talking for like hours and hours and hours, and and then when we moved out to LA, it was like, finally we can be friends.
We live here.
Yeah, we live here now. Let's do this. But there are just certain friendships that you get so much from that you like. I feel like Rachel. I I feel like I get a lot from our friendship. You know, like we share a lot of like mom stuff, and you know, it's just like you're always gaining from certain relationships.
Yep.
You know?
I don't know. I don't have many friends that I just met like on the street or anything. Like I said, mine are all like work friends. They all came from some common bond and grew out of that. But I would say, yeah, probably my two like most recent friends from my last job are like, as soon as they were there, I was like, we're going to be friends. We have the same sense of humor. We have the same sort of like very like self-deprecating humor and also obsessed with memes. But my friend TT and I we met at work, and then we both had a love of movies. So we had that AMC movie pass. And then even before that, we had like the movie pass. And TT and I would literally just go to movies. Sometimes we would like get lunch before, but other times we would just be like, okay, I'm going to go to this movie at this time. Let's meet. And then we would just like share popcorn. And then we started doing it like 3 times a week.
Yeah, you went to a lot of movies.
You went to a lot of movies. She beat me though. She beat me. She went to more than me.
That is maxing out that AMC pass. Isn't it like only 3 movies a week? Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we did the max. We did maximum 3 movies
max
a week.
Pass.
Guys, I don't mean to sway away from friendships, but we have to talk about the friendships we foster in our homes. And by friendships that we foster, I mean our partners. Welcome to the first real podcast, not Patreon podcast, that has Couples Court.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun. Couples Court is one of our favorite segments.
When you said you had a couples court, Becky, I was like, yes.
I couldn't wait.
So our couples court, we're not going to tell you who the couple is. Well, I mean, you're going to know it's me and Keith because I'm the one who has couples court this week. But I'm not going to tell you who's person A and who's person B. I just want to hear your outside perspectives.
Gotcha.
And then we'll just weigh in on like basically who's right and who's wrong and who needs, to buy the other one a pizza. I don't know.
Lay it out.
The solution
Lay it out
to
for
our
us,
couples
Becky.
court is. So here it goes. So person A and B live in a shitty little apartment, according to the internet. And they don't have a dishwasher. The dishwasher is person A and person B. Person A, I'm going to call them the more sane person, takes a dirty cup. That dirty cup, where does it go? The sink. It goes into the sink if you cannot clean it right away. Person B is of the philosophy that the dirty cup should go next to the sink until they're ready to wash it. Extra layer, said shitty apartment does not have much counter space. We're working with probably this much room to actually like prepare any food.
Gotcha. Okay.
Who is right and who is wrong in this situation?
I would just like to interject. I've had this argument. I have also played this.
And this is a game that has been going on for years. It's forever. It's forever until we get a dishwasher, I assume.
It'll continue to go on when you get a dishwasher, let me tell you.
Yes.
Because I like person A, I like to have my dishes in the sink. I like for dirty dishes, if you can't immediately put them somewhere, clean them, put them in the dishwasher. That's my one big thing is if you have a dirty dish and the dishwasher is dirty, then rinse your damn cup and put it in the dishwasher. Don't just plop it in the sink.
Right.
But if the dishwasher is clean and you don't have time to empty it, or or you're just like throwing your coffee cup there and you got to run out the door or something, I understand. Put it in the sink.
Thank you, juror number 1.
I can
juror
see
number 2.
Number 2. Okay, so why I'm trying to understand why the cup goes onto the edge of the sink. Is it because the intended use is for seconds? Yes. Are we saying because then you generate more cups, and then no, you don't agree? Okay, because I like to use one cup.
Becky's shaking her head no.
No to the question of
no to the question,
or is person B using
it's
it
just
to generate
dirty.
Another cup?
It
is a dirty cup that needs to be washed. It will not get reused.
Oh, okay.
How big is the sink?
Imagine a shitty apartment sink.
That's what we have.
So a single.
It is a tiny, because it has a double, but to put the dishes to dry would be to put them on even more counter space. So we have the dish dryer in the second half of the sink.
Oh.
Person B says their logic, sorry, not to give anything away. Oh no, their logic. I know, you had no idea this whole time. Person B's logic is that if they put the cup, typically it's a coffee cup. If the cup goes next to the sink and they're not going to wash it right away, when they need to like fill up their water bottle or fill a pot or start making dinner or something, they can't get under the sink because there's a dish in it. Now, my argument for that would be, and then you could do your stuff.
That's the unspoken rule.
The unspoken rule is you should just wash it.
That is an excellent point that person B makes.
Yes.
I will say. I have to, I mean, as a person who...
flip-flopper.
No. As a person who has had that problem before where I go to fill up, a cup or something and... Or like a pot and there's dishes in the sink, I do get very frustrated. But I will say I get more frustrated. Okay, but if you think about it this way, how often are you filling a pot versus how often are you going into the kitchen and setting something on the counter where you need the counter space?
Wow.
True.
I love this question. I will forward it on to the aforementioned party to see if it changes any minds. I would also like to say person A and B do not like washing dishes. It's a mutual dislike of washing dishes, which we have been doing for 6 years in this apartment.
Again, sounds like it's time for a new house.
Yeah, we are trying so hard.
This will solve so many problems.
It will. It will be amazing. We did debate, like probably on year 3 of moving in. We were like, should we just ask Frank if we could put a dishwasher in? Because the plumbing, it's got to be there, Yeah. So I don't know. We don't know how plumbing works. But we're like, we could take out the cabinet and then put the dishwasher in. But then we're like, we'd have to ask him to like lower our rent or give us like a kickback because that's not free to put.
No.
You know what we did in our last place was we bought the dishwasher and she paid for installation because it's about the same. And yes, that is the way that plumbing works. The dishwasher hooks up to the plumbing under the sink.
Okay, that's what I thought, but
yeah,
we probably would have texted you first.
You never know.
Are we crazy?
I probably put that idea into your head. I probably was like,
did,
you guys need to install a dishwasher because I know this has been going on for a long time.
Yeah. Yes, a constant conflict of the dishes. But now it's getting a little better, but the cups is still.
And who does most of the cooking?
I would say before quarantine, I did. And now in quarantine, I would say we're like 50-50.
And do you guys have the rule where the person who makes dinner doesn't wash up? No, it's just kind of whatever.
No. There are some nights where it'll go like back and forth. There are some nights where he'll make dinner and then just be pooped and like sit on the couch and then I'll do the dishes. And then there are other days where like I'll make dinner and then just still clean it up or vice versa. Yeah. There are days where we'll do both. But quarantine is really killing us because of the being at home more means we're cooking more. So it's like you wake up, you clean the kitchen, you make food, you clean the kitchen, you do your work, you clean the kitchen, you make dinner, you clean the kitchen.
It only gets worse with more people. It gets so much worse.
You're telling me Alfred's a nasty little eater getting food everywhere. No, just kidding.
Putting his paws.
Get it together.
He needs to learn to lick the dishes for us to clean it.
Clementine does do that.
Exfoliating. Yeah.
So does Bean. He's our pre-washer.
Alfred doesn't like human food, oddly enough. He never like goes for it. Sushi.
Like fish and sushi.
Well, Becky, will you take your findings back to the couple?
I will bring my findings back to the couple. I'll present both sides of the answers that we got. Though what I'm hearing from you guys is
he's out of order.
Person A is correct. Person A is correct.
Meeting adjourned.
Adjourned. You're all free to talk about the case in public now.
Thank you.
So now that I know Becky, you spoke on having to clean so much more now that you're home so much. What are some sort of things that you look forward to during the day during quarantine? Because I know a lot of us on the weekends, we're not used to going out as much, but what sort of been your seashells through all of this?
I used to, when Keith would leave to go to work, I would sing Work From Home to him. And now he does. So I've just
Do you still sing it too?
He would like be walking out and I'd be like, you can work from home. You don't got to go to work. It's work. And he'd be like, I do have to go to work. I do indeed. But I've liked getting to spend more time in the mornings. Our mornings have definitely like gone from waking up at like 7 to waking up at 8:30 or whenever King Alfred decides we shall awake.
That's glorious.
But I've been liking that. More time in bed, sipping on our coffee.
I do feel like I've gotten closer to Ned. And I mean, being with Wes all day is just a joy at most of the time. But like we eat all of our meals together. So I think that Wes is actually getting a lot from that. Because we sit down for breakfast, we sit down for lunch, we sit down for dinner, and he is such a funny kid. That kid, like, I swear, mealtimes that's the time when he just lights up and he starts to act so much like his dad. And he like tries to make people laugh and he'll make funny faces. Like when my parents were here, he without any of us realizing it, he was doing exactly what my dad was doing until my dad was like, "Hey, are you copying me?" And he totally was. And now and then it was like, 10 meals in a row when Wes would just be like,
oh my gosh,
touching his nose, touching his head. It was it was ridiculous. It's just so funny. Or he'll say the most ridiculous things. I mean, he has started saying like more coherent sentences, and he'll remember things from books that we read to him. And there's one that's probably a little older than what he like is probably reading at this point. Well, he's not reading, but the ones that we should be reading to him.
I was like, he's reading.
I know, no. Which is Dragons Love Tacos, because it's just such a funny book. It is such a funny book. And there's this one part where the world runs out of tacos, and the kid says he says like listen guys, don't panic, and last night Wes was like falling asleep, and we hear over the monitor, we just hear, listen guys, don't panic, listen guys, don't panic. And then they're looking at each other like, what is he saying? Until we realized that it was that he was like saying verbatim this sentence from this one book, and we were like, what is he saying? It's just silly. It's so silly.
That's so cute.
I've been discovering like different things about my neighborhood that I didn't even know were a thing, and like little pockets. Like the area that we live in is pretty walkable. But I've been like walking farther and like I don't know. Anytime I was on a walk with Bowie pre-quarantine, I just wouldn't look around. It was just very much like sidewalk ahead of me. But I don't know. I really enjoy being outside, and I've found that I'm walking farther, and like a lot of the streets are a lot different, and the foliage is a lot different. So I don't know, just kind of exploring different pockets of my neighborhood has been bringing me joy. And then
is that because you have more time now, or just outside means so much more? Outside means a lot more to now, like being able to go outside, being able to walk, being able to experience good weather. I don't know, you start to look at things a little differently and a little slower. Mm-hmm. And then usually on Sundays have become like a lot more sacred. I don't work as many Sundays as I used to in the past. But we've gone the last 2 weekends to the local farmers market. And like before, we would always have like a family engagement or a friend engagement, birthday parties and stuff like that. So slowing down and kind of taking our time has made us become a little bit more mindful of our time.
and like what's important. So that's been getting me through.
How about you, Rach?
I don't know. We have more time with the girls. And so every morning I try and get them a breakfast snack, a snack you eat before breakfast, and bring it into the living room. And my husband makes me a cup of coffee. And I'm always like, I just want 15 minutes of us all sitting together as the way to start the day before we make breakfast. And, you know, and the girls are like on board with it. They eat their snack. They bring their toys. It's really sweet. So that's really nice. But before, like Becky said, it would be like up, feed them, showers, gotta go, pass off to nanny, then into the office. And so I just think that slowdown is really lovely. And it's nice. It's at 6 a.m., but otherwise it's really lovely.
Well, guys, we've come to the end of this podcast. Thank you so much for listening to us. Make sure you're giving us 5 stars on that iTunes store, listening to us on Spotify and all the other ones. Also, keep emailing us. I got to go, I need those 500 emails to brighten my day. It's youcansitwithuspod@gmail.com. And then we actually have a little challenge for you guys this week. Since we're talking about making friends, if in the comments of this YouTube video, can you write ways that you have found that you've made friends? Because maybe we could all learn a little something from each other.
I like that.
Yeah, anything you have that, come sit with us. Come sit with us. Write to us. Let us know.
See you next time.
Bye.